Alrighty, so Angel, first off, again, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me, and congratulations on making your Broadway debut in New York, New York. Of
Thank you so much, Denny. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
course. So tell me, how exciting has it been for you to be in New York, New York, and what are you taking away from this experience?
It's been truly a dream come true to tell the story of a Latina presenting musician is a story that connects with me and my heritage, my background, and to get to work with this team of legends on Broadway is truly a learning and growing experience for me. And just taking that doesn't matter how far you get into in this industry. I think kindness and the love for the art is the most important, and I think that that's what can save us.
Yes, definitely, for sure. So overall, what makes this production worth checking out for those who have not checked it out yet?
I think the huge production value of New York, uh, especially as with the choreography of Susan Stroman, delivering story in every moment and every beat is truly entertaining. And um, it's kind of like if you just sit back and you take a look at all of the stories happening on that stage, I think you'll be able to piece together what New York it can be like. You turn the corner and you hear a new language. You turn the corner and you see a new story, and I think there's a lot of beauty in that.
Definitely, for sure. And now you play Mateo Diaz. What can you tell us about him?
Mateo Diaz is a young Cuban musician, fresh off the boat to New York City,
Mm,
and he just wants to share his music and his love of the art to New York, and he wants to make it. He wants to be on the radio.
mm.
Um, and I think that that dream is very like mine. I came
Yeah,
to the US to to try and make it in theater, and to be here now is truly surreal.
definitely. So you kind of have similar storylines.
We do, and it's so beautiful to get to do that. Mateo also, speaks Spanish on stage, and to be able to speak Spanish unapologetically on
hmm
a Broadway stage, really beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. And he's also LGBTQ, right?
Yeah, we never say that
Okay.
outright in the show because it is 1946 and
Mm,
it was different, especially in the Cuban culture of the time. He couldn't, he couldn't be out like, and I if there was language that he could identify, he would probably identify within the queer spectrum and probably still question his gender identity.
mhm.
Um, but uh, he is queer, and I think that knowing that and knowing that he can't be out, but he can truly just find little things to be himself, like Donna Sakowska designed a scarf moment for Mateo in every scene, and just that little bit of that little touch
I love that.
is enough for him
Mhm.
to feel like he can be himself
Mhm.
in a time where that truly wasn't the case.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I love it. So, what do you ultimately hope audiences take away from New York, New York?
I hope that they can take away that hope and uh, a perspective that there are stories going all around you, and that I think if you care to open up your perspective a little bit and you can maybe connect with others, I think there's a lot of power in that, and just resilient. City is resilient, and especially coming back after a pandemic, musical theater is still struggling. And I think giving that little bit of hope for artists to see the show is definitely a good takeaway.
Definitely, I agree. Now, there's also an original cast album of New York, New York, which includes seven new songs by John Kander and Lin-Manuel Miranda. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, it's a dream. Truly, this soundtrack is very old school in its feel. You get all of the music in the show, all of the transitions, all of the little bits, and there's even some music that didn't really make it onto the show because of time. But you really get a full extended version, John Kander's version of what New York would be like, and I think that's super special.
Mm,
And of course, with the additional lyrics and the insight of Lin-Manuel, it definitely gives it that contemporary feel.
mhm.
And so it's a classic with a contemporary feel, and it's truly a musical of now, 2023.
Awesome. And you are prominently featured on the track Gold. What's the story behind that song?
Gold came to my life the second day that I auditioned for this show, and this
Okay.
was December 1st, 2022. They had told me it was a new song. They had just finished writing it like yesterday, and I was like, okay. And it was I believe it was a full step down, because then eventually they brought it up a step for the stage, and it had a few lyrics that were slightly different, but it had that feel and that hope, of looking at the skyline and looking up, right, and looking up at New York, and feeling like you also can get up there too,
Yeah.
uh, and it's got that salsa feel to it, and that really connected with me. So coming in to sing that, being in the room, Sam Davis, and they all just working with me. It's truly such a beautiful moment.
Mhm.
To this day, it is a hard song to perform. Susan Stroman definitely wanted this to be a power number, and just for Mateo to let go and to dance in his
Yeah.
own living room. Um, so it's a difficult number, but every single time I get to do it, it brings a lot of joy to me and my little queer Latino heart.
Good, good, as it should. Now, your romantic partner is Joel Alberto Castro. He's a Broadway
Yeah,
pianist, right?
he is a pianist, but he's kind of new to the Broadway scene, as am I. We
Okay.
are both coming from Pennsylvania. His hometown is Allentown, and we moved to the city together. And he's also has a very strong science background. He
Okay.
right now just got a job at Columbia University doing research, and super proud of him.
Awesome. That's amazing. So you two are kind of like doing this journey together. How meaningful has that been for you?
It's been super meaningful. It's so nice to get to come home, um, to him, and to for us to be building something together like this, because it makes it a little less scary, to be
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
And uh, for both of us, I think this being our first time away truly from home, has been hard,
Mhm.
but definitely we're just so grateful to have each other.
Good, good. How did you two meet?
We met online. We
Okay.
started talking online, and it was a very casual conversation that eventually led to me saying yes to a date, even though I swore off that I was not dating. And but he convinced me to go on a date, and we I knew right away. I tell him this all the time because we just celebrated our anniversary yesterday, actually.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
How long?
A year, a
Yeah.
year. Yeah. But we had been talking for a few months, and I tell him that every time the moment that we really got to talking about musical theater and just life.
Mhm.
That first time we met, it was special.
That's awesome. I love it.
Thank
Now,
you.
have you always had this passion for acting and performing?
Yeah, ever since I could move, I was dancing and grooving to beats. My family is all music. My dad was a dancer, is a dancer. He continues to choreograph for his community and continues to do projects, in the dance world. And growing into that, knowing that that passion was in my blood, gave me a lot of power. And I danced Mexican folklore when I was 6 years old in Mexico,
Okay.
and that kind of got me into the performance world. And it wasn't until high school that I realized you could put acting, singing, dancing together when I saw
Okay.
it physically on stage. Um, and ever since then, I was hooked.
Nice, nice. So, what is your absolute dream role?
Oh, with my absolute dream role would, well, it was the existing would be Usnavi de la Vega and In the Heights.
Okay.
Um, but I think that my dream role is still in the making.
You're making.
I I am here for the new work. I want more Latina stories up on a stage. I want to actually represent my Mexican culture. I'm so grateful that I've gotten to represent many people from Latin America, and especially with Mateo being Cuban. But I want to make sure that I go back to my Mexican roots and be able to even give a little bit of that to the world.
Definitely, for sure. So, what are some other future goals you hope to accomplish with your career?
I hope that I can uh, work on TV. I've had always dreams of being in a telenovela, and I think that nowadays with streaming, that dream is possible.
It
And
happened.
being here in New York City, it feels so close, and I'm very grateful that I'm surrounded with good people that are willing to help me, and wanna I wanna make that work. Hopefully, so be on TV, maybe on a Netflix show, and getting to choreograph would be my dream.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, Angel, how can one stay up to date with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at underscore Angel Sigala, or on TikTok, Angel J Sigala.
Okay, perfect. Then, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time? Did you hear that? Sorry, you froze for just a second.
Yeah, we froze for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Or you can visit my website too, angelsigala.com.
Okay, perfect. Then, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you would like to mention or plug? Angel, you there? Sorry, I think we're losing you for a second. Of course, right at the end of the interview.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
sorry. Of course, right at the end of the interview is when everything wants to mess up, right? Okay, so
Oh,
for third time, before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
ooh, I would love to plug all of my brown and black people who are doing shows on Broadway. If you see a black and brown story coming to Broadway, go support it. I know that Here Lights Love is opening, and they are having such a blast, and I want them to be a success. So go support the arts.
Awesome, fantastic.